Hey, it's Andrew from the STL Break, joined alongside Greg, Dan, and Sean. We just finished this week's episode and got a great listener question that falls outside the sports world. We wanted to weigh on really quickly, exclusive for our YouTube audience. After 28 years in late night television, Conan O'Brien had his final show last night. My question to you from our listener is, do you have a favorite current late night host? And also, who is your all-time favorite late night host? We all fall a little different on the age spectrum, so I think there are going to be some different answers. Anyone want to chime in first? Jump in. Do you have a favorite current and a favorite all-time late night host?
My favorite all-time is got to be Letterman. David Letterman is the king of all-time late night for me. I grew up with my parents watching Johnny Carson, and I didn't really know what was going on with that kind of format of a show that much when I was little. But growing up, and then getting an opportunity to watch Letterman over a long period of time cemented him as the sort of gold standard for me anyway.
So Sean, did you watch Letterman when he was doing like late stuff even before he took over on CBS?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. And I think that was just the influence of friends who had watched it, and but definitely. So anymore, I don't tend to watch the major networks very often, including the late night stuff. I like watching the sort of beginning, sort of like the monologue, but it's called something else. It's like Seth Meyers does a thing at the beginning of his show, and I tend to watch that. I think he's funny, and we tend to share a similar ideology about a lot of things. But other than that, I don't watch a lot of those shows anymore. I don't care for the ones that everybody seems to like. Jimmy Fallon, to me, has lost his shine. He was funny, I think, in the past, but he's gone corporate, in my opinion. Generally speaking, I don't think anybody needs to wear a suit. It just doesn't seem like, what's the point? So I don't have one that I watch anymore. Definitely Letterman. And it's only on twice a week, but Jesus and Mero, same kind of a late night type show. They had Letterman on. He told them they were, the next thing. So that was kind of fun to see. I enjoy watching them, but they're only on 2 nights a week. So that's about it. That's about all I got to say.
Yeah, we've seen kind of an evolution in late night, like you're talking about. There's all sorts of the Samantha Bees of the world, and even the John Olivers kind of fall into that kind of new late night scenario of 2021. Dan, where do you stand on all-time favorite, current favorite?
All-time favorite, I don't know if you could call him a late-night talk show host, but Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is by far has been the best at any of that, in my opinion. I will say that Sean picked a great one with David Letterman, especially the first 2 or 3 years where he switched over to CBS, and it was just giving the middle finger to NBC all the time. It was just great. And you mentioned him at the top is Conan. Conan was by far the best interviewer with fellow actors. He keeps it jovial. It's just so great. And if anybody wants to laugh and just keep laughing, go back to some of his clips, especially if you can watch him with Paul Rudd. Those are by far my favorite. I don't know how many movies Paul Rudd plugged, but every one of those clips that he plugged was absolutely hilarious. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go Google Paul Rudd's last interview with Conan.
Did you see him on this week? Speaking of,
I did.
Okay.
That's what just reminded me. So Other than that, I think I was like Sean said, we were just a tad too young for Johnny. But props go to him because he changed everything about it, and and it was just fun to watch. And even we were as a kid, I sneak out of my room and run to the back of the couch where my parents were sitting, and they'd be sitting on the couch, and I'd be behind it, thinking that I'm all sly, watching it and giggling right behind them. I'm sure my parents weren't dumb. So yeah, I would have to say that Conan was great, Letterman was great. Some of these guys now are just absolutely horrible. Jimmy Fallon hasn't been funny since SNL, like Sean said, and James Corden. I don't know why anybody thinks this guy's funny. He hasn't been funny ever. The only time I've laughed in any of his things was when other people have said something in like the car, cool karaoke or whatever. But wouldn't even talk to the guy.
Okay, that's intense feelings towards Corden. Yeah. And Greg, what about you? How do you feel about some of these late night hosts? You got a favorite?
All-time favorite?
Yeah, all time.
Sean stole my thunder. It's Letterman. I guess me and Sean, being the elder statesman of the podcast, he's kind of right in our wheelhouse. But I mean, he deserved it. He was, it was just so much better than Leno, or it's not even. I can't even compare it, But currently, I still kind of like Colbert.
Yes,
I did like him better when he was doing his show, which was brilliant. And he's not, doing that character anymore, but he's still pretty funny. So, but again, I think Conan's just a victim of it. Those shows are built for like senior citizens predominantly, I think, and they're just not up that late, I guess. I don't know, but you got to hand it to those shows. A lot of them have pioneered the use of YouTube and kind of modern distribution techniques, and that's, if I catch any of them, that's usually where I catch them. They're all pretty good about sharing content. That way you don't have to watch the whole show, because I mean, who's going to watch that whole show? And usually when it gets to the interviews, I'm out, unless it's somebody really compelling. But yeah, I go with Colbert for current. He has the most interesting musical guests. He has the most, kind of edgy monologues. So, but
Okay.
You got to give Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart's probably on that all-time Rushmore too, if you're gonna make a Mount Rushmore of late night hosts. And he might even put Conan on there. He was somewhat groundbreaking as well in his heyday. But I don't know. He just kind of fizzled out when he got to California to me. But yeah, I'll catch his new show on HBO. That's probably a good landing spot for him.
Yeah.
What about you, Andrew?
So I'm as the young one of the group. Conan maybe connected a little more for me than some of you other gentlemen, because like when Conan kind of really got his break, I was just becoming a teenager. He felt like kind of the irreverent one of the group at that time. He had Triumph, and he had all the stuff he was doing with Robert Smigel from SNL when they would do the Bill Clinton kind of like, they would have Bill Clinton mouthing things. There were so many crazy, goofy, funny Conan sketches. Everything he's done this week was incredible, with the guests having Will Ferrell and Jack Black, and Seth Rogen on. That was a really good one. He had a ton of fun stuff this week. Dana Carvey. I would say for me, I'll give two honorable mentions, and then I'll name my number one. So Jon Stewart has to be on the top of the list somewhere. The guy that I'm surprised you guys didn't mention it, and maybe it's because he's a little different on the late night scene. I thought Arsenio kind of redefined late night to a large degree at that period of time. I mean, it was predominantly a male, white, older demographic, and Arsenio kind of changed the game. Him having Bill Clinton on playing the saxophone basically won Bill Clinton the presidency back in the 90s. Arsenio literally changed the game for everybody and all future people. But for me, number one, got to be David Letterman. I don't know how you can really debate anyone other than Letterman. I would also recommend, there's a really great series on CNN. It's called The Story of Late Night. It's 5 or 6 episodes and kind of takes you through the evolution from the 50s all the way up until contemporary late night TV. And so if you have CNN, I'd recommend checking that out. And I'm also looking forward to Conan on HBO Max. I think that'll be really interesting to see what he does there. I hope he brings Andy Richter with him. I don't know if that's the case. I think Andy's been the perfect foil for Conan over the years, kind of like Ed was for Johnny back in the day. So hoping we get more fun stuff from Conan on HBO. I appreciate the person who sent this over. Hopefully you liked the video. Be sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Let us know your favorite late night host in the comments below. And be sure to check us again next week.